2, 1, kind of live. Yeah, all right, we're live now. We've been live for 5 seconds, apparently.
Great. All right. Hello and welcome all. Yes, we do not have a McWomble here, and that's okay, because we're like American versions of the show anyways. I think it's always better with a non-Brit on the show, just saying. So welcome to the Beerumverate. We are a bunch of guys that love drinking beer and talking about video games and have a connection through sifted.net. So if you like any of those things, welcome. And if you haven't seen our show before, check us out on our channel. We'd love to have you check out all our stuff. Give it a like, share it with your friends, bump and caress that subscribe button oh so nicely, because it's rewarding us for good things. Now, we are not here to promote any kind of drinking of any kind. If you are going to drink like we are tonight, yay, we both are drinking tonight. We just ask that you do drink responsibly. Any beers or breweries that we talk about are not paid. They're not paying us to be sponsored. If you want to, let us know. We would definitely open that conversation up and possibly test your beers live on the show. But anyways, I am going to be the host today. I am Mitch. If you can check me out on Twitter at Mitch Secor, and I'm joined by the one and only Mr. Matt Berkough from Vegas. How are you doing, kind sir?
What's going on? It's Friday night. I'm doing good. It's the end of a long-ass week at work, so...
After you said Friday night, after this, I do need to show you a video of a song called Friday Night that I think you will love very much. And
it's not the music video by Rebecca Black, is it?
No. No, this is an original song who auditioned for the UK X Factor with a song called Friday Night. He had dry ice and everything. It was beautiful.
Okay.
It was quite hilarious. So I'll send it to you after this. If you, you people listening, go check it out. Friday night. It's great. You'll be bumped up to party all night and drink all night. Literally quotes from the song. But anyways, so
we're both drinking, dude. What beer you got?
Okay.
You said you were gonna wait until we actually went live. Now I'm curious.
Okay, cool. So I got the Lift Bridge Brewing Company called Juice Z in English, New England IPA.
Oh wow!
Check that thing out. It's Godzilla, bro.
I love that can, dude. That's awesome. Yeah.
And so their quote below is brewed by man, unleashed on the world. It's a great quote.
It's very pretentious.
Yeah, so it's 5%.
Okay.
And it's supposed to have some fruit undertones. So I haven't tried it yet, so I'm literally going to try it live. But I'm going to have you talk about yours while I get mine set up because, I got my glass.
Yeah. So right now I'm doing a little PBR just because McWomble wanted to talk shit on Twitter and put us on blast about drinking the PBR. I don't know what it tastes like in England. I think it tastes pretty damn good here in the United States.
Can't go wrong with some Paps.
Yeah, but after I'm done with that, I do have this Bat Squatch from Rogue.
Ooh, I like that. We got a monster theme going on.
Yeah, it's definitely the month of October and some Halloween. Interestingly enough, this is a hazy IPA, which is New England is known for their hazy IPAs. So it sounds like we both have the same type of drink tonight. This one's really cool too. It gives you a little star on the back. My camera isn't focused on it, but it tells you like where the flavor palette is at. So this one's like citrus and tropical.
Oh, we both went fruity.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. So I'll be cracking that open in a little bit after I finish this PBR.
Okay, I'm digging this. I don't taste much of the tropical or any kind of fruit undertone that they said that's for this one, because heck, the name is Juice.
Yeah,
and I don't really taste any of that. It's merely it's more bitter and it's got a strong aftertaste, but I can deal with it because it's got some hops in it. But I did notice on the can here, the guy is hanging from the subway.
It's awesome.
So we'll have to see as I drink this, but it's been pretty good so far.
That is really hazy.
It is, yeah. I mean, I can't see very much through this thing.
Yeah.
It right now it almost looks like a really it looks like orange juice, but except it's more not it's not orange, it's more peach.
It's a little more pale. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Eh, I'm digging it.
Yeah.
All right. So as we got to our beers, we got rumors.
I'm curious what you've got.
So I'm gonna do self promotion on this while this rumor comes into play because it works out just fine.
All right.
If you have not followed me on Twitter, which please do so. I always have something interesting on Twitter to post up and talk about, but including Dino Crisis, which I think I would love to see Capcom bring that back, especially Dino Crisis 2. I love that game.
In the same style as the Resident Evil 2 remake.
I think in 1 they could pull that off, but I honestly think 2 is better. But I think 2's story is not as well, but I love the arcade style with the action combat. I think it just matches Dino Crisis really well.
Okay. I liked 1 better, but
the only thing I didn't like about 1 was the puzzled rooms, like the rooms with the like there was a key card and then you had to put in a code.
Yeah.
It was way too damn complicated. And then to do bleeding, when you were like bleeding, you have to have, there's health packs, but then there's
the bandages.
Yeah, and I just thought that was not that smart to do that. I think they're trying to do too much there.
It's fair.
But one thing, Regina is a very recognizable video game character, and I was like, I don't recognize any other redhead in video games. Like that iconic, like that red.
Okay. It'll come to me. I'll think about it while you're talking about your rumor. There's got to be another famous redhead in gaming.
I mean, there's got to be, but not one you can think of immediately. The first one I think is Regina.
Yeah.
Dino Crisis. But anyway, so follow me on Twitter if you have not found out. I ended up doing my first review for Sifted Games on sifted.net, which was ending up being now I forgot what game it was called. Just kidding. So it's Ghost Recon Breakpoint. So if you are a patron on Patreon through Sifted Games, you can check out that review. And if you're not, go pledge $4 a month and you can get access to all, not only that, but other great stuff on sifted.net. But
indeed.
Anyway, so on there, that game is buggy like no other. Someone showed me
dude, I'm surprised that you scored it as high as you did. I was like,
well, it's got a really good foundation. It's just buggy as hell. Like if the bugs were gone, that game would actually be so much better than what it's gotten. I think it definitely would be well, I guess Sifted's rating's a little different, but I think a lot of the things they were going for in execution, I can look past most of the bugs, but there was a point about the last 10 hours in where I was like, okay, these bugs I can't ignore these no more.
Yeah, we should say that 5 is like a perfectly like average middle of the road game that if you picked it up and played it, you may enjoy if you're into the genre. Anything above that gets into games that are more worth your time and more the like 10 out of 10s.
And like a 5 for us is more like
a 7 for
7.
Yeah,
and 7 for other reviewers. So we gave the game a 6. So there are just some elements like the sound and the graphics that just kind of pushed the score higher than what we were anticipating. So, but anyways, that game is buggy as heck. And so I have a feeling that they found out I was going to get this review code to play this game. And I think the Witcher team at CG Projekt Red saw how much I was bashing on Witcher 3 on how buggy the game was. So I bet they told them, there's this guy named Mitch, find his exact game and bug the shit out of his code. And so therefore, they just kicked themselves in the foot by giving me a buggy game. and literally I could not complete the last mission because there was a bug that stopped me from finishing the story. So I have no idea how the story ends, and I'm a story guy. I love stories in games, and so they did it purposely so I can never find out how this story ends, and I was a little teed off about it. I tweeted about it. I was furious.
I like the concept, the whole, especially with like Facebook and Twitter and the whole conversation around what tech companies are able to do and like how powerful they are. So the idea that you have like this technocrat that has his own island is kind of fascinating. So,
Yeah, the concept itself was really cool and really interesting. It's just unfortunate that and there's a story specific parts is, they did a lot of these flashbacks to really like create character moments with each other, and you could tell that it almost was like they were going somewhere, and then all of a sudden they're like, oh, we should really spend time somewhere else, and so they just drop it. Because
okay.
there is one character moment that I absolutely loved, and it was like, this is a really earned moment. It's like you're trying to recruit a doctor on your side, and she is being reluctant to do so because she thinks the owner of the island is a murderer and a horrible person and let all this happen. And then he's like, well, do these two things for me, and these things will help me convince her. And the two things were, one of them, you proved that he didn't slaughter a bunch of people. You actually proved that someone else did that. And then the other one was, you find out that she has a husband, which there was like, it seemed like there was sexual undertones with you and her. So I was like thrown off, being like, you have a husband. And then that's exactly how he approached it, is being like, oh, you should have told me you had a husband.
Right.
And like extremely ill with some illness. So he was in cryo sleep, and she didn't know that. And he was working on a cure to cure him for her as a gift to say, thanks for helping me like create this wonderful island and work on this artificial intelligence for me. And so you could really tell of that moment where you're like, realize, oh, he's not a bad person. And she realizes, oh, he's not a bad person either. Like the thing he did for her meant a lot to her because that's her husband. And it's just, it set up a really great moment between those two characters. And I was just like, that if it had a bunch of those moments throughout the game, it would have been so much better with the story. But it just, some of these moments where you're like, oh, you're getting somewhere, it's like, no, just good, drop it.
It needs the payoff though too. You can have those moments, but if there's no emotional payoff for the investment that you have, then what the hell's the point?
Right, exactly. And unfortunate that every mission was not like that, or any kind of, it seemed like it didn't connect as well as that one story. I think that was the one story that was the highlight for me. The rest of it is forgettable, unfortunately.
Okay. All right.
So yeah, they bugged the crap out of it. CD Projekt Red hates me. They bad. Yeah.
Some corporate espionage.
Yeah, they're not gonna like. Oh, I don't know if I'm ever gonna get a review code for 2077. I don't know if they'll give it to me. You know what? Shane talked about that whole Excel document about reviewers and like what's their likes and dislikes.
Oh yeah.
Either it's going to be buggy games on my list, or it's going to be CG Projekt Red. He hates CG Projekt Red.
Oh man.
What do you got in your rumor mill?
I was gonna come up with something about like Blizzard sponsoring terrorism, but that's a little too close to home.
Well, you already did it, so
I figured, I'm gonna just leave that one alone. We won't get too deep into it.
You're just gonna let it sit there now. It's just gonna sit and foster.
Just gonna marinate.
It's gonna taste great after about a good probably 2 years, and we'll see how that marinates goes.
It's crazy to me because like if we could talk about it just a little bit, like the people that they're suspending and stuff, like the one kid, the one that had the gas mask that caused all the controversy. I don't know if it was Polygon or Kotaku. Somebody posted an article where he was quoted as saying like, "Nah, I probably just won't play Hearthstone anymore." Like he doesn't even care. He's like, whatever. You know,
Yeah,
he'll put
it's
his efforts into another game. So yeah, I don't understand the reaction from Blizzard for that, but
it's it's
yeah,
tricky business when money's involved.
there's the bat squatch. It's just as cloudy as yours, almost as cloudy as yours. Yours is
Yours is
actually
Yeah, I think
yeah.
yours is a little more, or yours is, yeah.
Mine's a little
Mine
more
looks like a
golden,
mimosa, to be honest. That's what I feel like it looks like.
but yeah, this is pretty easy going. It is yours is 5, mine's 6.7, so it's a little bit higher alcohol.
Up, so we know who's gonna go first. All right, so we actually have an interesting topic. That's why I was like, oh, we can't drop this topic, and I think it's going to be a really interesting one. And it was based off an article we read in regards to because there's multiple different companies. We'll kind of bring up the article once we get into it more, but the basic premise of it is, you know, video games in regards to funding. And you know, obviously there's the revenue source of the company themselves funding the games, so that's like Sony, Microsoft, all those publishers, publishing studios that makes the games. Knocked into my microphone.
I didn't hear it
uh,
on my end, so
Cool. See, that's why I get the suspense thingy, because it doesn't make noise when you knock into it.
right.
Came with it or something. But anyways, so yeah, there's that method, but then there's the method of public. And that's been a big thing over the last probably about 7 years now, probably 7 years, 8 years.
Yeah, by public funding, you're referring to
Or-
crowdsourcing
Correct.
funds. Yeah,
So that would be it. Originally, Kickstarter is the first one that came into play. And
Indiegogo,
Indiegogo.
and yeah, now
I don't know
Fig.
if a game's ever been funded via GoFundMe, but I'm not sure.
I don't think so. GoFundMe's more for personal stuff.
That's what I thought. And
Yeah,
then there was a transition into something called Fig, but we'll get into that a little bit later. Um, and I guess we'll establish the difference between the two. One of so Kickstarter, that side of the case is all you putting your money towards it, and then you would earn some kind of reward by giving that money towards it, but not necessarily getting anything in return, unless that's like if you gave so much money, you would either get like a copy of the game, or you would get like a copy of the game and a cool poster. Just you get rewards for doing stuff like that.
yeah, usually in-game or physical items uh,
Correct.
that are added to it.
And then Fig is a little bit different because it's actually more of an investment rather than a actual because you are getting a share of the game, and depending on how well the game does, you get a part of finance back from that share.
Yeah, so if the game does well, you get a return on your investment. I'm not sure exactly how it works. If it's just if you pledge a certain amount, you get a certain percentage back on top, or um, I've never actually looked into it to see like how they've structured that. Um, but like the article that we're referencing, they have different percentages, and I guess we can go over that based on game or whatever.
Yeah, and both companies, it's an initial fundraise, and then once the money is raised in that initial part, then the fundraising is cut off, and then after that, the game is being made, or whatever project is being made is being worked on. We'll get into Fig, and they're introducing a new type thing where it will be actual funding throughout the lifespan of the project, and they think that will be a lot more beneficial. But
Right.
we're just going to get into Kickstarter first, of just going, you know, what do we think? What do we think about Kickstarter? I mean, there has been some major successes, but there has been a lot of failures from Kickstarter's type of funding.
More failures than successes for sure. Um, I guess, have you ever backed anything on Kickstarter?
I backed actually I backed Ian Hink's board game or card game. It
Okay.
was, I think it was called Swords.
Okay.
It was a super. It's I have it still. It's a great game. I like the game a lot. But that's the only thing I've ever found on Kickstarter. But I guess in that example, he already had the prototype done, so it was more of production, and that's where the difference between video games and other projects usually come into plays. Most of the time, when you go into Kickstarter, the project's complete in a beta phase or at least a prototype phase,
Right.
and money is really used for production and creating the actual thing,
Yeah.
and make it a commercial item instead of making it just a prototype.
Yeah, I have never backed anything on Kickstarter because I always thought that's a waste of money. Like,
I only backed it enough to get my own copy of the game. So like
yeah,
my own card set. I basically bought the card set because I think he said he was not doing it for any profit. He was doing it for break even. So like whatever you paid in to get the game was going to be what it cost to make it.
right. I don't know. I mean, I've looked at some projects like Red Ash seemed pretty cool. That was going to be Inafune's spiritual successor to Mega Man Legends. But then, of course, Mighty Number Nine didn't do very well, and so like the Red Ash project, I guess, just doesn't exist anymore, or is just sort of fallen off the map. Um, I'm trying to think. There's other stuff that I've seen that would have been cool. Like, if I'm not mistaken, Battle Chasers Night War, I think was a Kickstarter game.
I think so.
But I ended up just buying it. Like when it came out, I just bought a physical copy. Um, I couldn't actually back it. I don't know. There's something about like throwing your money down 2, 3, 4 years ahead of time that
And I think overall that's the issue with video games with Kickstarter is, and they even talk about it in the article, but I think I think the whole point is, I was talking about the card game that I bought into, it was a finished product. Where video games, especially when you're kickstarting them, is these aren't prototypes done. It's not like they have the completed game and saying, "Hey, help us do the minor adjustments and fixes to this game." No, it takes that money to make the game. And so
right.
you have to go through the process of actually creating the game and all the developmental issues you could run into in the process of making the game that you are set out to do. So like an example, I think they did a remake of System Shock, and they ran into an issue where they let know all their Kickstarter backers to say, "Hey, we spent too much time trying to change things and say, oh, we can make this better. Oh, we could change that. We could completely change our systems," and then realized, oh crap, we're almost out of money, and
Yeah.
we're not even past the phase we need to be for the rest of the funding to be able to come into play. So then they had to try to look for another partner to invest in the game itself so they could complete the project. It's just so um it's so rolling the dice when it comes to making it in game development, because even the
Well,
games that don't get through Kickstarter or just get through made through, like heck, look at oh my gosh, now I can't think of the name, the dragon one with Platinum Games,
Scalebound.
Scalebound.
Yeah.
That got canceled and it wasn't even a Kickstarter.
Right.
So
Right.
like there's the chance
Yeah,
always.
and then there's the public element too, right? So you've got all these projects that have like just sort of evaporated, or they've blown through the money and they didn't complete the project, and like, sorry guys, we got to shut it all down, no refund, and everybody's like, well, what the fuck happened to my money?
Well, they spent it.
Right, exactly. So I think there's like the perception issue as well, which maybe is probably why I haven't ever put money into a Kickstarter, because I feel like if something like that happened, like, why, I don't know, why would I throw my money away?
Yeah, and I think it's also being really trying to be really strategic on what company you're going to give your money to, because there's many people that are like, especially with the nostalgia factor nowadays, with people going like, Oh yeah, I have like I want to remake, I want to do a spiritual successor. Oh, I want to remake this game. And it has a cult following. And so people are willing to put their money on it because they're like, "Oh my god, I want the remake of this." Oh my god, like hell, I love the remake of Resident Evil 2. Like that
Right.
is one of my favorite things. And if that was a Kickstarter and I knew the game was going to be finished, or if it was on Fig, I probably would have put my money in that cuz like personally, I don't know if I would all the way, but like I have that feeling of like, oh my god, I want the remake, I want it like so bad.
Yeah, it's well. There's a weird gray area too, right? There's the companies that like are like Capcom, Square, whoever, right? They're like these big corporations. Like, you don't need my money to make this game. Why would I pay you ahead of time? And then you've got like the smaller guys that are like, well, what you're doing or what you want to do sounds cool, but I don't know if you're ever gonna finish it. But
Yeah,
you're the dude that could use my money. You know what I mean?
yeah, and I think at the same time it's tricky because some of the people that like put their are like trying to make these projects aren't known teams to like actually finish projects, or this is their first project they're going to work on. And so if that's something like that, that should ring a bell to go, maybe it's not the best choice to invest my money in something I don't know, like if they can actually make a game. Because as we even noticed, something like Anthem, or even something like now with Halo, when
Yeah.
people roll over and teams change, dynamics change, creating a game changes. So if it's a brand new type of a studio who has not made a game before together, you're gonna run into some issues most likely.
I guess that's a good point too. Like, I know we've talked about pre-ordering on the show before. I don't personally pre-order shit.
I used to as a kid, but I don't really do that anymore.
Kickstarter and some of these other crowdfunding methods are like extreme pre-ordering. Like, that's a good way to look at it, you know?
It's basically your pre-order when the reveal trailer comes out for the game.
Yeah, yeah,
So literally it's like when that Last of Us trailer came in, you're like, pre-order it now. And I mean, heck, that's what Shenmue was. Literally Shenmue 3 was a pre-order. Like,
and
like the game's coming back and put my money down. And
I don't think that thing's gonna come out in any way, shape, or form that people are. I don't think people are going to expect. I think what people are expecting with that game is not going to be what it actually is.
I disagree with you. I think it's going to be exactly what people expected, which is the same game just in 2019. Like same,
Maybe,
like
and
it's, I think that's the whole point, is like they want that game made in 2019. Not necessarily, I don't think they wanted it to be like a modern day RPG. They're like, I love the structure the way it was. Like that's why the game had such a cult following.
yeah,
Like it's like when they did the remake of Resident Evil 2. They made small changes, but man, that game still like is very much like that first game that came out. I mean, the original that came out, just some minor tweaks to update it just a little bit, but still got everything you got from the original.
yeah. Well, I don't know. There's quite a bit that they changed actually, like with just being able to aim and um, yeah,
Well, but I mean, like, they copied rooms. You still have to, you like the systems that you're still using. You have to use
the
the
typewriters and all that.
typewriters. You still have to use your inventory system still has to be
Yeah, so
managed.
yeah,
You got Mr. X still in there. You still have those. I mean, there's plenty of moments that make you feel like the original. Where I don't think Shenmue is going to be that extreme to that Resident Evil to remake, but I think it's literally going to be Shenmue 2019,
okay,
maybe a few tweaks. Heck, I saw Michael Huber, who is a huge fan of this game, which I mean, I played Shenmue 1 and 2. I enjoyed both games. I actually like 2 obviously more because 1 is really slow and
right.
doesn't really go much anywhere with the story, but 2 actually moves places and you're like, oh, I find this interesting. But literally, Michael Huber got happy off of turtle races, and that's something that probably would have happened in Shenmue 2.
Right,
So
right,
it's not like it's anything different.
right. Okay. So that's a Kickstarter success. But I think he had other money too. It wasn't just the crowdfunding, right? Like there must have been other investors in the background.
I mean,
They're
heck, we got the whole exclusive with Epic Game Store. That's probably got some money behind it. So
right.
obviously, and see, this is where I get to the point of like trusting the team that's making it. Like Hugh Suzuki is known for making games and is known for making and has made big games. So he understands what it takes to make something or make a project like this and what needs to happen to be able to continue its success to finish the game out. Because
Yeah.
I think there is no way that like Kickstarter in the gaming world would have exploded if this game was not going to come out.
Yeah, people would have lost their shit if they canceled it.
I mean, literally, someone was in tears at E3 with his hands in his eyes. He was like, "My game is coming out." He was literally like that.
Yeah, it was like a Michael Jackson concert.
Oh my gosh. So I think it's for that. There's such a risk with it. It is very much the most extreme pre-order you could ever do with a Kickstarter. In video games, Kickstarter and other industries, I think, is a little bit more different. Like we've already said, because of most of its prototypes going to commercial compared to this is an empty project.
Right, right. Yeah, some stuff's already got the Shark Tank seal of approval, and they just need the money to actually do enough units to
So there's that method that's currently out there, which so then the other method is Fig, which is an actual website that, like we said before, you invest and you have a stake in the game and a stake in its future success of that game.
Yes, and I'm gonna put this out there on the internet, on YouTube and live right now. So the Fig was founded in 2015, right? 2015 or 2016.
Yeah.
Sifted has been around since 2014.
Probably, I believe so.
If I'm not mistaken. If you look through the comments, you look for comments that I've made on articles in late 2014. I specifically said what they need to do is come out with a company that allows you to get a revenue share from the games. So I just want to put it out there. I came up with this idea and somebody stole it that actually had money and capital and could turn it into something.
I'm going to hold you to that. I will do my research. I will let you know next week if this is real.
I'll find the comment. I know that I found it before too, and I was like, son of a bitch.
Oh, should have been smoking less cigarettes. You would have got more money to invest in it. So how do you feel about the investment stake in a game compared to having that Kickstarter where it's just I think we're just going to call it a pre-order.
Well, yeah, I mean it's interesting because my initial thoughts when I thought up like, well, what if you did this to where somebody could actually make money on their investment rather than getting, a packet of cardboard cutouts or some other random bullshit that they package up and send to you for, thanks for pre-ordering. If you could actually take a piece of the revenue share and you're investing in the game because you believe that it's going to be successful, my thought was, well, how do you get around like SEC regulations or the Securities and Exchange Commission's stuff? I still don't quite know how they did it, and I know that you have to be vetted before you can even invest at that level, or be able to invest enough money to get a return on your investment, because you have to be an educated and knowledgeable person in order to get to that point, right? Because otherwise, if you have a group of people just taking people's money and saying, "Oh, you're going to get money back," it's akin to a pyramid scheme or, a scheme of some kind. So I don't quite know how they've gotten around all that stuff, but I think this is definitely a much better strategy and structure than Kickstarter.
And who knows, it could be more of a, yes, they do have a small investment in it, but I think the word investment is a lot more appealing. And maybe that is the key thing where it may not actually get, maybe you have to give so much to be able to get a return on some kind of, get some kind of return on the investment. But the fact that it is that you are investing in the game and using that word specific might change people's mindsets compared to where Kickstarter, you're giving your money, but you're not really, are you really getting something back out of it necessarily, compared to where if you're investing in it, you're investing in that game itself.
Yeah.
So I think having that mentality automatically makes you, and also the company that you're getting your money out of, clearly setting expectations that you want it to be successful, they want it to be successful. And I think it automatically breaks down barriers that you run into where it's just, oh, I gave you my money. Okay, well, where's my game? Instead of here's my money, here's my investment. How's the progress going? What's the new thing that we can, and they talk about how they constantly do on Fig, where the developers actually reach out to their community members on a consistent basis and talk to their community members saying, hey, we have this type of thing. Let us know your feedback on it so that we can continue the progress of the project, so that they're actually getting info from their investors to say, you help us make the game you want because you have an entitled investment of this game and how well it succeeds. So your opinion matters.
Right. Well, it's like what you said, expectations, right? There's clear expectations on either side. And you have a situation, I think, where some of these Kickstarters have failed. If there was just a little more transparency, like with the backers, and there was more feedback going back and forth, and maybe if you could, as an investor, look at the financials and the health of the company. Maybe if you're going to lose some of your money or whatever, but you have the ability to pull out based on the trajectory that they're headed.
Heck, look at the System Shock example, the System Shock remake example. They talked about how they were constantly trying to change things, thinking, oh, we could change this or update this to make it better. If they had their community and said, hey, we have these features, we can only pick like 2 to 3 features that we would like to update. What features would you want us to update on the game? Right. That could have saved them an issue of saying, instead of trying to do all of them and saying we can do them all because we want to update them all. Like, instead of saying that, they can just go, this is what our people want us to adjust. This is what our people are willing to live with that we can't change.
Yeah. And then there's like with Kickstarter, there's the whole the goals, like above whatever the base dollar amount is. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I keep going. I'm not sure where you're getting at with it.
I don't know what they're called exactly because I don't pay that much attention to it. But it's like a project asks for 50,000, and they get to 50,000. Okay, this project's going to be made, but they have like the stretch goals, right?
Oh, okay.
So,
yes.
Like, all right, we hit 55. Now at 55, we're going to unlock this, and at 60, we're going to unlock this. It's kind of absurd to think that just because you have more money available, you can just automatically tack on all this other stuff.
Oh, here's an example. Shenmue. Oh Jesus, what is it? Shenmue did something like saying, "Oh, we're gonna expand the skill tree to like." Hold on, I'm about to pull it up so I can actually tell you the real example that they gave. Where is it? Come on. Where are you? Updates. Crap, I can't find it. But I know they were saying things like, oh, nope, found it. Here we go. So based off the money they received, they were doing things like legends, let's see, like expand character perspective system, expand battle event, additional quest. It's like, how do you know, like, expand dodge roll reaction for $6.5 million? You'll get a battle system expanded roll ragdoll reaction. Like, how do you know that that additional cost is going to equal getting that out of it? What if you run into an issue in the middle of the game where you're like, this bug is actually stopping us, and it's actually going to cost double the amount that we said it's going to cost to make that happen?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. It's absurd to think that you could just do that.
And I think the not the final thing, but the thing that kind of supports the argument I've been making about having some of the people that are working with groups of people that have actually made projects before. Look at the people that have been successful on Kickstarter, I mean, and Fig. If you look at those, you're going to see that the people that are most successful are going to be, the Shenmue Yu Suzuki studio that's coming out with Shenmue 3.
Right.
You have Outer Worlds, which was funded through Fig, and that's
Outer Wilds.
Outer Wilds. Sorry.
Yeah.
And that's what is that company? Is that Obsidian?
No. So Outer Wilds is it's the game that's like Myst, but it's first person, and you're actually moving around. And I don't know if it's first person or not. I think it's first person. It's like Myst, but you build a spaceship, then you take off in the spaceship, and then you explore the solar system. It was an Xbox exclusive. That's not Obsidian.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of what company did it.
A smaller studio. I think this is their first game, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Anyways, they did that. I can't remember the exact company that worked on that game specific, but that company did it on Fig, and that was successful. Double Fine was on Kickstarter. I mean, was on Fig for Psychonauts 2. That is becoming successful. Yeah. So there is a lot of options for, these are companies that have experience in making games, and it just shows the point that, if you're going to invest in any of these, your safest investment, if you want to say, hey, I care about getting my money back, or I care about where my money goes, it's always going to be investing in people that have done it before, that understand and know what they're doing, and understand if they, they've done this type of system before. So, like, again, giving it to a new studio that has never been made before, it's going to come with risk.
Yeah. So just coming on the Outer Wilds. So that was Mobius Digital.
Thank you. Yes.
That, as far as I'm aware, that is their only game, but they do have a publisher relationship with, this is hard to pronounce, Annapurna or Perna Interactive, which has done a bunch. They published a bunch of indie games. Mm-hmm. Ashen, Donut Country, What Remains of Edith Finch. So I have a feeling that they probably stepped up and was like, okay, we have X amount of dollars available that we're willing to invest, but we want to make sure that you can generate enough buzz and get enough other people to back you. It was probably a situation where, like, so much was raised on Fig, and then the publisher was like, all right, we'll match that plus handle, what you need to do to get, box copies in stores or whatever.
Plus, in the end, they Double Fine was so successful, it got bought out by Microsoft.
Yeah.
So it shows. So
Double Fine's weird, just because Tim Schafer's kind of one of those guys that's I don't want to say a legend, but I mean he's very well known and very well respected.
Yeah.
The only reason I don't want to say he's a legend is because his Twitter handle is Tim of Legend, I think.
Someone's a little full of himself.
No, I don't know. He worked on a bunch of LucasArts stuff. I think Full Throttle and a couple other games. So I mean, he's got the experience, and yeah,
But I think overall in the end, these games, either going through Fig or going through Kickstarter, the successes and the really good successes really are great for the games industry. Heck, we would not have Shovel Knight if it wasn't for Kickstarter. Shovel Knight
I didn't realize
now,
that was a Kickstarter project.
yeah, yeah, it was announced. Yeah, it was 2014. It was a Kickstarter campaign that initially announced, and now look at that game. That game makes so much money that it doesn't need Kickstarter anymore.
Yeah,
It can do it all on its own. Was it Yacht Club Games? I think is the
yeah, you're right. Yacht Club.
publisher. I mean the studio, but I think but that's just it's nothing but good for the industry. It's just people need to be careful with their money if they're if there's a game of your dreams is appearing on that screen, make sure you're doing your research on who these people are that are going to work on this project. Make sure you understand of what is their success stories. Where have they failed? Why are they going to Kickstarter? Why can't they get their money from Sony, Microsoft, EA, or Ubisoft, or any of those kinds of groups? Because there's so many different options for indie developers to develop their first game through different kinds of projects and initiatives. So just be really careful when you're doing that. But just because it's a beautiful saying, oh, we're going to remake System Shock.
Yeah, and that's I mean, that came from not a reputable studio because it was a new company, but I mean, Warren Spector was involved. Who would have thought that would have tanked?
Yeah. I mean, apparently it's still coming.
It's just taking way longer than
They
anybody
said that they had
expected.
to take a step back and reassessed everything, and it seems like they need to find an outside investor to invest back in the game, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
And that was a story I read in like February of this year. So it's been such a long time. I've not heard anything more. I've never played System Shock, but I was curious to try this one before because I was interested.
I would play two. If you were to ever pick up any one of those games, two's probably the easiest to get your hands on Steam.
Oh, okay.
It runs on everything: Windows, Mac, Linux.
Even my ancient Mac next to me, that's like 2011.
Yeah, it would run on that. Yeah.
Okay, maybe I'll give it a shot then.
Yeah, and I think I picked it up for like $3 on a sale.
I actually found my Steam account. Like I used to have one because I played Portal on my laptop for the first time in college, and I don't have that email anymore. And so it took me forever to prove to them I'm who I say I am. Now give me my username.
Wow.
And password. It took like 3 days. It was just insane of back and forth emailing, going like, what credit card did you use? I was like, I don't know. I haven't used that credit card for that since 5 years ago. I don't even have that card anymore. So I said, this is possibly my address that the card was for. It could have been a this or this. I don't remember. Is 5 years ago.
Yeah. I'm surprised it only took 3 days, dude.
Does it take shorter than that or longer?
Longer. I feel like I had a friend of mine who locked his account for like too many like excessive logins or excessive attempts to log in or whatever, and they had to like wait until his IP refreshed at the ISP to like make sure that it wasn't somebody trying to hack in and shit.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
No, they got back to me pretty quickly. Well, I was using some colorful language, so maybe they got back to me quicker because of it.
Hopefully things have just gotten better in the last few years.
Maybe that's it too. I know just my friend's obsessed with Minecraft right now, so he's been meaning to try to get me back on because I played for a little bit before. So
yeah.
But anyways, any last things on Kickstarters and things like that?
Do you ever see yourself investing in a game on Fig? If you had like serious money, would you take a look at like a project and say, depending on what the return on investment is? Because So like looking at the percentages from the GameIndustry.biz article,
Hmm.
Psychonauts 2 is 139% is what they're saying. Outer Wilds 220% per share. That's huge.
Yeah, I mean, if I had real money, like, I mean, I have money, but I don't have real money to just like
Right,
throw
right.
at a game like that. Yeah, depending on the game, depending on the studio, depending on the franchise, it's really one of those. If Shenmue 3 got announced again today, I mean, understanding at the time, I didn't even know what Shenmue was, so I did not understand all this like love and praise for Shenmue, because that game came out. I wasn't even old enough to really like understand or buy that game
Right.
personally. So if I knew what kind of touch that game has on people, I would have probably, if it was on Fig, I would have invested hardcore cash on that game, because I think the nostalgia factor enough is getting people to pull in. And heck, those remasters sold pretty well, as what according to the NPDs.
Right.
I mean, they were cracking the top 10 for 2 months in a row, for Shenmue 1 and 2. And so the fact that it stays in the top 10 for 2 months in probably some of the early busy section of the fall, shows that there is plenty of interest. And those are probably people that probably never played the game before. Who knows of what percentage that is? And that might come back to play Shenmue 3.
Yeah, that's true.
Heck, Michael Huber said, "Take my money." So I wonder how much he actually gave. It sounded like he was going to give like $250. So,
Yeah, I guess.
well, heck, that thing won. That thing got 6 million.
Yeah, I
That's
don't know.
Kickstarter.
I could see like hardcore fans being like, okay, what is the price of a good collector's edition? Right,
Mm-hmm.
$100, $200, $200. I feel like is like
Yeah, probably.
that's usually like the big one with like the statue and you know.
And who knows? Maybe we were talking about financing for Shenmue 3. I wonder if maybe the profits made from the remaster of 1 and 2 went into the development of 3.
Some of it, I'm sure. I don't know what deals. Wasn't the first one published by Sega originally?
Both games were published by Sega, if I'm correct. They're both for
So
Dreamcast games.
no, two wasn't a Dreamcast game. It was a Xbox.
2 was an Xbox?
Pretty sure. Yeah,
I gotta look this up.
but yeah, I think I don't know how much money the remakes made, but or the remasters
Oh,
made.
no, you are, what? Sega and Microsoft.
Yeah, so some of that money got siphoned off for the remasters to go to Sega and Microsoft for sure.
Now I'm confused because I thought only the Shenmue remasters were only for PlayStation and PC.
No, I think Xbox One got a copy too.
Because yeah, it says Xbox One, but that's just so weird. Because why in the world would Shenmue 3 not come out for Xbox then?
It's got to be a Sony thing.
Like that's what I thought. I thought maybe it's a timed exclusive for like a year, kind of like what they're doing in Final Fantasy VII Remake. Is there's a timed exclusive for that time?
Yeah, probably. Yeah,
Because
it's probably not exclusive forever. Like
yeah, because
that's
I'm just
ridiculous.
yeah, it's almost like a na 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 na. Like you get to play Shenmue 1 and 2, but you don't get to play 3.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be a Rise of the Tomb Raider situation.
Oh, which oof. I remember reading that story, and that was a harsh story to read.
Yeah,
I almost was like, "What are you thinking? Like, people do not assimilate Tomb Raider with Xbox. What are you thinking?"
I I don't know. Whoever cut that deal was like, that they felt good about themselves.
And
Like,
then, and then, if you really think about it, you're like, "You're a stupid idiot." Like,
no,
God damn it! Like,
I
if I think Tomb Raider, I think PlayStation.
yeah, of
Like, I just
course. So
you
that's why
can't.
you get exclusive or exclusivity. To
but
rip
people
that
were more
away.
outraged and didn't buy the game. That's how bad it was. Like,
No, I know it definitely backfired, but
oh,
yeah, no, whoever did that deal was like, yeah, we're turning the tables here. People are gonna think about Xbox now with Tomb Raider.
it's like Xbox was like, you know, they got Uncharted. We're just gonna take Tomb Raider from
Yeah,
them, and we're not even gonna bother making our own game that's like an Uncharted. We're just gonna take Tomb Raider, and it's like,
yeah.
that's a bad idea, sir. That's a real bad idea.
So I don't.
Would you invest your money? Even I didn't get to you. Would you ever invest?
I would like to, but like Outer
What would be
Wilds.
the project that would get you to invest?
Okay, so Outer Wilds is sort of the breakout for me. Um, that is the type of game that I like. So I like games like Myst, and like one of my favorite games of all time is the Talos Principle, which is just a puzzle game. That's a first person puzzle game. Um, the problem that I would have is actually putting my money down on something like that, because I'm like, I know that I like it, but I don't know if enough people out there like me that will like it as much as I will.
Berkough, you're one of a kind.
You know, um, yeah. So like the Outer Wilds doing as well as it did, like that's like I would have if I had the money in my bank account and could have done it, I would have been like, no, I can't. I'm that no, because I don't think enough people like this. And then for it to do as well as it has done, and now it's going to be on PlayStation. So
Yeah,
if there's
I
any
think
type of
hence the reason why I said Shenmue probably be the project for me because I know other people would like it. I mean, to get that reaction at E3 for that game, I think that would have convinced me to make that investment compared to like you're saying Outer Wilds, you're not sure
yeah,
because you're like it's not like it got an announcement everyone went bazooka crazy. Like if they
nope,
had the Final Fantasy 7 remake and that was the way and it was announced as a fig, I mean, that it's worth investing your money in that because Final Fantasy 7 is coveted in regard to most likely to most people the greatest Final Fantasy game ever created.
right,
Therefore, you're gonna get some no matter what. Like even if it sucks, people are gonna buy that game.
yeah. McWomble will make fun of me on the next episode he's on about that.
If we let him back on the show.
Um, yeah, I don't know. Like The Witness is another one. Like if that game had been available on like something like Fig and I had the money, I would have invested in it, but I would have felt bad and nervous about doing so because like it did pretty well when it did release, right? And I was
Mhm.
one of those people that bought it day one, but
Did you finish all the puzzles?
yeah, I finished everything. I haven't gotten a platinum. I'm still one trophy away from the platinum. And I have been for years now, but um, yeah, it's an amazing game.
Because yeah, my roommate in college he finished it. I bought it, and he's the one that played the crap out of it. I played a couple of the puzzles, and I kind of understood what was happening, and I was like, okay, I'll take a pause. Maybe new segment option for the future. Games that we got that like that looked really that we were nervous about that ended up turning out pretty good.
Okay.
But I don't know about I don't know if I would have invested in The Witness. I felt like that trailer was really unique. The art style was really interesting and unique. I just didn't know. I'm similar to you in that aspect of the Outer Wilds, which is I don't know if other people felt the same way I did.
Right.
And even though yes, once it came out and I heard it sold well, my thoughts kind of got confirmed on how I felt about it, and I'm thinking this is how other people feel about it. But you always have that doubt in the back of your mind.
Well, yeah, and stuff like this is a good example too. So, Mortal Kombat 10 or X, or no, was it not 10? The one right before that that introduced the game in the modern form that it's in.
Oh, the modern fatalities.
Was it 9? Mortal Kombat 9?
I think so. Yeah.
But it had that story mode, right? Where you play different characters throughout the story.
I've actually have not played a Mortal Kombat.
Okay.
I've seen it be played constantly.
So like 10 and 11 have done amazing. Like they're doing all kinds of crazy sales like it did back in the day on the Genesis and the SNES, right?
Oh yeah. Oh no, that thing topped MPD charts for 2 months straight.
If you
That was number one.
if you had told me before Mortal Kombat 9 came out, like Mortal Kombat's a thing again, but it's going to have this crazy story mode where you don't have to play against other people. It's a single player experience. I would have been like, you have lost your fucking mind. And I am not giving you money for this project. But it took off and it worked. Like I got that game for free from a friend and I plugged it in and an entire Saturday for me was gone. Like I woke up at 9 o'clock. I put it in my Xbox 360 and it was dark out by the time I got off the Xbox.
Dude, that was me in Dragon Ball Fighters. That game came out. I bought it right away. I played that entire story mode all the way through. I played the alternative story mode version. Man, I was down for that. I'm usually not down for fighters, but I absolutely love Dragon Ball Fighters.
Yeah. So anyway, those are my thoughts.
Yeah. So I'm not going to say thank you for being on the show because you're always on the show. So if you like the show, again, give us a like. Check out the rest of the content we do have the channel. Give it a like, share it with your friends, and hit that subscribe button so that you can be notified when we do another live stream. Or check us out on sifted.net. We are always curated there on Sifted. And please follow us on Twitter. What is Matt's Twitter? Berkough. Is at Berkough.
Dude, we're not giving you any more beer.
So Matt is at Berkough, and then I'm at Mitch Sikora on Twitter. Follow us on Twitter. We'll always let you guys know when we're going to do our next live stream. And if you can't catch us live, again, you can check out the archives on YouTube or at sifted.net. But you can check us live. It's even better. And if you ever want to be on the show, feel free to message myself, Mick Womble, who is not here. He will return. He is with family members who may be hidden Yakuzas. We're not sure yet. We'll see how he comes back. He might be repeating the same quotes of "They are a marvelous series of video games." But let us know if you want to be on the show. We'd love to have it. We love having guests on. It gets really fun when that happens. So
yeah,
go ahead and sign us out. I'm done talking.
All right. So just if anybody's curious, if you stuck around this long and you're wondering what the fuck Metroid has to do with the topic we just talked about, the CEO of Fig, his name is Justin Bailey. # Metroid cheat code.